What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 420 in California. This is Reefer Revolution Live.
But I think in terms of marijuana, and legalization, I think that should be a state issue, state by state. I think it's up to the states, yeah. I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely. You know, I know people that are very, very sick, and for whatever reason, the marijuana really helps them.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Well, Reefer Revolutionaries, the good people of Florida got to buy their very first smokable flower buds, as the new law is passed, signed, and implemented in just about 2 weeks. And it doesn't look like the good people of New York will get their legal cannabis this year. And Monday's vote in New Jersey is iffy. With no home grow, is this a good thing? And home grow is front and center in the debate in every state. Free backyard medicine, or it's tyranny all the same. Michigan is going to pass recreational. This is Reefer Revolution Live.
I'm all in. This is the time to go all in on cannabis.
All the people at Weed TV are all in. The Cannabis Media Network. Bernie was in town.
Legalizing marijuana. Oh my God. Now that is a radical idea that will never happen. Who the hell was talking about that? Oh, and here's another one. Oh my God, this will never happen. Legalizing marijuana. Oh my God, too radical.
Too radical.
4 years ago, we talked about legalizing marijuana. Now, as you and I know, that's an idea that will never happen. Impossible.
John, you know Washington. You spent a career there. Do you think this is going to be that this is going to be legalized?
I do. The only question is when. Listen, when the American people are for something, their members of Congress listen, and they come along. And clearly, the federal laws are way out of step with what 33 states have now done. And so the States Act, which would say if it's legal in that state, the federal government recognizes that it's legal in that state, I think has a very good chance of passing sometime this year or early next year.
What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? I'm Dave Conan. This is indeed Reefer Revolution Live, the show where we spark up, talk about marijuana in the mainstream media, the politics of pot, and cannabis cures. And when I say we, of course, I mean my partner in all things in the new studio, everybody. We've got a new studio for Reefer Revolution Live. Coach Chela.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
On the cannabis couch over there with Oscar Grumbledore.
I got Oscar here.
Super excited about our new digs, our new expansion there.
Yeah, it's like we bought a new room. It's very exciting.
We turned in a lease and bought a Murphy bed.
Yeah.
Or rented or leased a Murphy bed or whatever.
No, we bought this Murphy bed.
On time, yes. We bought a Murphy bed on time.
We bought this Murphy bed. Mm-hmm.
Because we know what? We needed the space. We needed the space.
Oh my goodness, you guys, we needed the space.
And let me tell you, it's a new lease on life.
It's amazing, you guys.
It really is. We've had it for just about 3 days.
Yeah, since Friday morning.
And life-changing in our 275 square foot mountain cabin, high atop the hippie enclave of Mount Washington in Los Angeles, California, where it is legal, of course, to smoke all forms and do all kinds of other things
bud
with
flowers.
Cannabis, with bud flowers,
flower buds,
smoking the flower buds.
One of the reporters called it that. That's why we're calling it that.
You'll get the reference in the afterburn when we get into the marijuana in the mainstream media.
Yeah.
This is, of course, our first hour where we discuss
Vegan Metro.
all the news. Who's in there jumping in? I saw Laura P. jumping in there, too. There's Cannabis
Vegan Metro
Sativa.
says she looks like she's in the green room waiting to go on the Carson Tonight Show.
That's right. We'll have to get a big overhead cam to get the full zoom.
Oh, yeah. You switched our spots on the show. We're in different spots. Yeah, I'm usually on the left and you're usually on the right.
Really?
You switched those spots.
I find that hard to believe. Did
Well,
I really do that?
somebody else mentioned it
Really?
too. Yeah, it wasn't just me.
Interesting.
Somebody else said so.
I'll have to replay that. It must be my brain just filling in the gaps, as it does.
As it does.
Well, welcome everybody jumping in. Gypsy Lady Lee is in there over in Alabama.
Yep.
Guess what, Alabama?
And Laura P.
We got news this week.
News for Alabama, y'all.
Laura P. Bonnie Lee will probably be jumping in over there on Periscope. A couple of folks jumping in over there on Periscope. We all are multi-streaming, folks. Over YouTube, of course, is our main engagement page at Reefer Revolution Live. We are also multi-streaming on Twitch, Facebook, Periscope, D-Live for the decentralized crowd, and Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network. So welcome everybody on whatever platform you're joining us on. Thank you for joining us there, and drop a note in the chat, and I'll see if I can't catch it. I'm picking up most chats here, I think. Picking up most chats. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody to our patrons and our Steam Labs contributors. Thanks everybody. But we do appreciate you sharing the show more than almost anything else.
Totally,
really.
It's the best. It's the best.
Is getting this channel out, and this show we do every Sunday at 4:20 Pacific live. We spark it up and we talk about this week's cannabis news. And this week is no slacker in cannabis news, I'll tell you that much. We of course started the show with a couple of clips from Senator Bernard Sanders making the rounds in California, in San Diego. We were at the Los Angeles rally, and actually you can see me sort of going back and forth with the smooth. I went live for part of it from our post. We decided to sit down up on the steps.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with the standing and the crowds
in
and
the
stuff.
City Hall, but they were saying 22,000. I think RSVP was the final number.
No, I thought you said it was 14,000
originally, and then they revised that. LA Times is calling it 14,000. I think it said, but I've heard estimates up to 17,000. I probably overestimated.
There's a lot of
20.
people.
There were a lot of people. The lawn was full. There was a big media section. A lot of independent media up there. Not a lot. Didn't see a lot of big cameras. Saw a lot of small cameras. You know what I mean? Digital stuff. Combo Couch was there. I saw Pasta. Nice to see him.
I love that that Bernie Sanders has that they have their own channel.
Yeah. Oh no, they're knocking it out of the park. Because
now they really, like, anybody who wants to see where Bernie Sanders is and what's going on and what the crowds are, they can just go to the channel and see.
He's streaming live. Great. They got 3 cameras switching. They got it live going out on the YouTube, which we were struggling to find live streams that somebody was putting up from the rallies in 2015 over at Bernie 2016 TV, and now he's got that all handled, so we can focus on other things like cannabis. But not unsurprisingly, Bernie Sanders spoke about legalizing marijuana at all the rallies on his stump speech. It's in every one of them. Of course, it's been, as he reminds us, part of his campaign for since the beginning. He's even before he was running for president, he was very much for decriminalizing and descheduling and changing the marijuana laws and ending the drug war. So he is no newbie to this party, as with many of the other progressive ideas that are all very popular now with the Democratic field. Maybe cannabis will be one of the issues that can be taken up by the other side as well. It seems to be happening in a number of ways with regards to research and other things. But Boehner was all over the news of Fox this week with Acreage Holdings. Very excited about what's going on the East Coast, as well as their insertion into buying a California company, Acreage Holdings, expanding their empire across the country, with John Boehner at on the board advising that. So I find it very interesting that John says he's been fighting against this his whole career, but now that the people want it, 61% of the people in a new poll in the Cannabis Chronicle. You can see a story about that, which is basically what we talk about here for the first hour, is all the news that we find for the week. It was a huge week for us in many ways. But
it was so busy and so much going on.
Very busy week. We had you had a training. We did training. We trained people.
Yep.
In dementia care.
We got a whole new room.
Got a whole new room. We remodeled the living room.
Yeah, completely remodeled the house.
Added.
Cool.
We got rid of a second car. Got rid of a lease. So we're down to finally got that off of our plate. But yeah, it's been a big week. A lot of things, exciting Mercury and retrograde things happening, things completing, and new things sprouting up all over the place. Big week in cannabis news, though, also, folks. So thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about that now. Let's get into that. And of course, we are talking about a Cannabis Chronicle at dc420la.com. You can get the weekly newsletter I send out sometime Sunday morning, depending on what's going on. But usually early Sunday mornings, around the time I'm enjoying the coffee, you'll be enjoying maybe your lunch on the East Coast, but you'll get that in your box once a week. And those are the stories we talk about during the week. You can also follow us on the socials at Reefer Rev Show and at DC420LA. That's where I do most of my tweeting on Twitter. I do most of my tweeting at Twitter. And at DC420LA. The show is at Reefer Rev Show. And also, we do a little Instagramming. We're getting better at it. We're going to improve. We promise to be gramming more. We have dogs for crimini's sake. We have cannabis canines we can gram.
It's true.
We should be gramming them.
We have content to gram. It's just that gramming takes up a lot of time.
It's
a time suck. All of the social media is just an enormous time suck.
It's a new skill as well.
Once you get on you start scrolling and a half day goes by.
So
and you had a million other things to do.
That's those. Oh, Jackpot taking up his post.
That's why people have people who do their social media for them, because they're busy and they got to do other stuff. Anyway.
What's not been an issue with Vegan Metro was saying something, but I missed the rest of that chat. But he was saying something. If you can follow up on that, that would be great.
Sure,
but thanks. Welcome, everybody.
That's
how you can follow us everywhere. I think I covered all the socials. Welcome to everybody that's on every platform. A couple of quick... yeah. Let's talk about some other exciting things that happened this week with the show. April... this is our last show in March.
Oh, yeah.
This is our last show. We
have one more show next week.
We do? Is that still March?
That's, I think, still March. I think it's the 31st.
Oh, no. Today's the 24th. So, yeah. So, we have one more show.
Yes.
We have one more show in March. Thank you very much. We have one more show in March.
Yep.
And next week, we will probably have special guests.
Yes. We're going to do them all in April. We're not sure. We haven't figured that out yet.
We're going to start a special series in April. Beginning every Sunday in April, we're going to feature an interview with a OG cannabis revolutionary.
Yeah.
As well as a new generation cannabis revolutionary. And it's going to be a very exciting month. And I think we've locked in a couple of interviews that I think we can talk about. And I'm going to kick it over to the executive producer of Reefer Revolution Live, Coach Chela.
That sounds like me. I'm like
co-executive.
That's gotta be me.
The co-creator.
And
co-executive producer.
That's gotta be me.
Reefer Revolution Live.
So
why don't you tell us about our lineup for April?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We're going to be having Siobhan Danger Darwich, who is the co-founder, one of the founders of Grow Sisters and Blessed Coast Farms. They are the recipient of the first cannabis license in Humboldt in California, I believe. So super exciting. So glad to be having her. And we're going to be having Ed Rosenthal. We're very excited about having him.
The guru of ganja?
The guru of ganja, without whom none of this probably would be possible. And Mel Frank, also, with whom none of this would be possible. Also, one of the original, back when we were criminals, is Mel Frank's book. And he took lots of photos of what?
And they co-wrote the other book.
Yes, and they co-wrote the Marijuana Grower's Guide.
Right. With Ed Rosenthal.
Yeah, Ed Rosenthal and Mel Frank. So it's a very exciting month so far, and we hope to be bringing you more guests in the future as well. So if you guys have any questions you guys want us to ask in particular, by all means, let us know. Of course, you know that we're going to be asking questions along the lines of, what's the future of backyard medicine?
Right, exactly.
That is Ed Rosenthal's thing. For Grow Sisters, Shaban is all about growing your own. Pretty much all of the people that we're talking to in April are all about growing your own.
Well, that's certainly
and
a
they're
topic.
All activists.
It's certainly a topic that we address here every week on the show.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a thorn in the side of this legalization fazul. Is the fact that nobody wants people to grow their own backyard medicine.
Yeah.
The corporate cannabis people are trying to stop it. The people that are against legalization, like big pharma, because it's like, well, we don't want people to be able to do it if we can't, we can't make money that way. So they're trying to stop it. The prohibitionists are trying to stop it. It's a hot topic in every state. Now it looks like Pennsylvania is going to do it right. With the bill, it looks like the law that they're talking about bringing up is they are going to doing it right. Quite frankly, as I said in the opening, if it's not free backyard medicine, it's tyranny in some form.
Uh-huh.
But there are certain degrees of positive liberty that we are allowed in this system, as we would say.
Remember, Dr. Sicily was saying that they advocated in Philadelphia, and that's why they're getting the law that they're getting, is because they really focused on making that happen. So lobbying really does help, you guys. And speaking intelligently and clearly and calmly to lawmakers and people on the other side, whichever other side it is to you, could actually work. It's kind of amazing.
Well, there's certainly, Boehner is like, I'm bit my whole year. Let's have some rears. It's very hypocritical now that he's making the cha-ching.
Yeah.
But he knows he's going to be making the cha-ching. Before we get too much further into the news, and I closed this window, and that's why it slipped my mind. Oh my God, everybody's having big weeks this week. Also this week, our favorite cannabis refugee and warrior out there in Colorado celebrated an anniversary this week. 4 years seizure free.
Awesome.
This week.
So great.
On nothing but cannabis medicine. Alexis Bortel.
Pretty amazing, huh?
And guess what, folks? There's THC in that medicine.
Yeah.
It's not just CBD. So that was super exciting to hear that this week.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
absolutely.
Alexis.
Yes.
It's still waiting.
Congratulations to Alexis and to the doctors and to her family.
Yep.
And to Sanjay Gupta for making the documentary that her family saw that gave them the idea to try it. And that they had the bravery and the courage and the means to be able to go and try it is awesome. And that we're all along for this ride is incredible. And thank you for letting us on this ride.
Absolutely. Alexis has been a friend of the show, gotta say, friend of the show. Amazing interview with Alexis over on Super Bowl Sunday. You can check that out. But she often joins us in the chat when she's not playing volleyball or she's in the farm harvesting or fighting for justice, testifying before the State House in Colorado.
That's right.
So for free backyard medicine and the tyranny of lists. So congratulations once again to one of our favorite and OG revolutionaries here on the channel, Alexis Bortel, 4 years seizure free, and to all the Bortel family and everybody involved. And we continue to watch for a response, a decision, verdict from the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, and we will bring Alexis and maybe the whole family on because we've had Dean on too.
That'd be awesome
when that happens. And
yeah,
I know Alexis really wants to come back on the show, and that will be another. Maybe we'll do that in April as well. We'll go to the younger revolutionaries at the other end of the spectrum in April.
That'd be cool.
I think that would be a nice way to round out the April month of 420. Our plans for 420 are still uncertain, but we're going to be in town and doing some great interviews for the show. So make sure you subscribe, get notifications, ring that bell, do whatever you do on whatever channel, and share this channel and the news and the information we try to give you every week. So welcome everybody and thank you for your support. Continuing into the news, once again, this is from over at DC420LA.com. You can get the Cannabis Chronicle every week. The big story coming out this week, I thought, and it was the most popular one on my Twitter, was this story in Forbes. Don't be greedy. Why cannabis companies should support home cultivation.
Yeah.
So here you have an opinion piece in Forbes magazine, which of course is really doing great coverage of the cannabis space. Not the least of which having Tom Angel and folks over there, Kyle writing for them, but a lot of good writers over at Forbes doing the cannabis beat. Chris Crane writing this story. Don't be greedy. Why cannabis companies should support home cultivation. And we've often said it here on the show. Greed is fueling the government, and it's fueling the corporate. Who's talking about it now is we're not Massachusetts. Not quite getting as much tax revenue as we thought we were gonna get. What's the story, potheads? Why aren't you buying more weed? So California, of course, has that issue of not ponying up enough tax money. Next thing you know, they're going to raise the tax.
It's the tyranny,
to get more. The tyranny of it all, indeed. So yes, home grows. There's plenty of. This is a weed, folks. Grows. Not everybody's going to want to grow. You're going to get plenty of people going into the stores, buying your cannabis. That's pretty much the people that are doing it now. People that are already growing, they're growing. It's a revolutionary act still in a lot of states where it's illegal to grow for home. You're limited in the amount you can. What is it? The recent state is looking at 3 plants for medicinal only growing at home. I guess that's free backyard medicine. No, not really. That's just 3 plants. And that's how, if somebody's going to grow medicine in cannabis, you need a lot more than free plants, especially if you're making concentrates, if you're not smoking it, which you can do now in Florida.
Exciting.
Which is very cool. And that's, of course, in the Chronicle and also in the Afterburn. We have stories in the media from
It was
Florida.
interesting to see that they were freaking out when he said, yeah, you can smoke it, but they hadn't implemented the rules yet. That was an interesting thing to watch.
Oh, you mean
unfold.
at the beginning of the week?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it literally transformed from Monday to Friday. So we don't know when the health department's going to allow us to do it. You can do it now.
And boom, by Thursday they were selling
flower
buds.
Flower buds. Yes, to sell their flower buds.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can smoke it in Florida, which was, I'm sure, going to make this guy even happier, because Acreage has a couple companies down there in Florida, as well as along all the eastern seaboard. They're very excited about the East Coast and the battle up in Jersey about what's going on up there with whether or not Cuomo is going to happen or not. It's not, actually. Looks like it's
totally not.
Looks like it's not going to happen in the budget this year in New York. New York, you're not going to get your legal weed this year.
Well, some of them are saying, it's not going to happen because of public safety, and we have to slow this down. But really, I think it's not going to happen this year because they're trying to go too fast with pushing it through for the big cannabis coup. And really, we need more free backyard medicine and more jobs programs and making some of the wrongs of the drug war righted. And I think that's the reason to slow it down. And the Republicans, or the other side, whatever you want to call them, the prohibitionists are co-opting that, saying, we need to slow this down for public safety and health. The Democrats would be totally fine passing it right through. But the fact of the matter is that the Democrats have issues on some of the social justice stuff and the home grow stuff and a few other things. So the people are being heard, and that's why it's being slowed down, not because it's not going to go through. So have heart. Don't get upset. It's going to be all right.
Well, it looks like Jersey is going to be voting on at least one of their bills on coming up on Monday. And it's really up in the air whether it's going to pass there. But, of course, they don't have home grow in New Jersey law either. They're stopping it there, even though Cory Booker is endorsing this bill in New Jersey. Of course, former mayor of Newark, who introduced the Marijuana Justice Act, and has really taken up the mantle of the cannabis candidate for 2020, and make you wonder why we aren't getting behind Cory Booker as far as a candidate goes. And there's a number of issues for that. We are. You can call us single issue voters. It's true.
I am behind him on the cannabis issue, but he has other issues. And I love that he's vegan. I love his girlfriend. There's a lot to love, but there's so much to not. And
everything just sort of, it ticks too many boxes almost. It almost ticks too many boxes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, methinks thou protest too much in many progressive ways. And so I'm, and plus I think, I'm a Bernie guy. What am I going to tell you? Bernie's running. He's always been for cannabis legalization. And
Cory Booker is a big pharma shill. Let's just be very, very clear.
Yeah, exactly.
Big giant pharma shill.
There's that.
Yeah, no, let's be very clear so we know why we don't like him.
And Big Pharma's threatened by cannabis, so they're going to get, they're going to be able to guide him in legalization, which is going to involve no home grows. It's going to involve taxation, although, the bill is, his bill just, which is not going to go anywhere because it's too far reaching. His bill is too far reaching. And as Boehner said, it's going to be the States Act is going to come through. Now, there's a whole bunch of bills going through Congress, and that's one of the stories in this week's Chronicle, is that there's a mess of bills going through Congress. There's research bills, there's banking bills, there's the States Act. So we're going to probably see action on the States Act. Everybody on both sides want that. You got Elizabeth Warren as a co-sponsor of the States Act. She's running for president. She wants to grab on it. I be honest, I did not watch her town hall.
No.
But nobody picked up, Marijuana Moment didn't pick up anything on, I don't think, that she said about cannabis during it. Maybe
if anybody
totally missed that.
Yeah, if anybody knows that she said anything on cannabis, let us know.
Weird considering she's a co-sponsor of the States Act. So, but maybe I just missed it. It just got by me because I'm not a big Warren fan as it is. Another shill for, neoliberal shill. I'll stick with Bernie for as long as it goes. I will, just to digress, and I'm not going to digress into Mueller, but he didn't indict, he didn't indict anybody for cannabis crimes, so there's no point to talk about it.
That's right.
Which means, listen, we might still get cannabis off of Schedule 1. Nobody's going to jail.
I think that he is down for the States Act, and 45 would be very happy to sign it.
Yeah, and so we've got the States Act, we got research bills, which we'll probably get through. So we're going to see some form of rescheduling and banking action. You're seeing moves on the states with banking on a state level. So we're going to see probably within this first part of this year, we're going to see movement on probably the research bills, and the States Act will probably happen, maybe a little later. But who knows? Maybe it'll happen sooner rather than later. But I'd say those are the ones to watch out for. Anything that's looking into research and anything that's looking into banking and also liberty. Liberty's a bipartisan issue, so or stance. So
true.
The States Act might get some play.
Yep.
And I think you might even get candidates like Tulsi Gabbard, who introduced her own bill, which essentially does the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's not as social justice focused, but it does leave it to the states. So I think we can get bipartisan support for that. So we're going to see some stuff move through. And we're all, what else we're going to see move through now that the FDA, head of the FDA is headed out. He made some recommendations on the way out for what to do about CBD. I don't want this video to start.
Next case, Martha Stewart.
It's starting.
No, I stopped it. Scott Gottlieb said Congress should figure out what to do with CBD because apparently that horse has left the barn as well. Being at that CVS, is about to start selling, or rather Curaleaf is about to sell their stuff at CVS, a CBD product. Now, this is not an ingestible CBD product. It's for the skin, topical. But it's CBD all the same. And, of course, we're seeing it everywhere, popping up in restaurants and in everywhere, from coast to coast. New York, California. I think somebody posted this week, what's the craziest thing you've seen CBD in? And somebody posted they saw a CBD toothpick.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
I like that idea. I do other things on toothpicks.
Listen, a toothpick is an excellent FECO delivery system.
It's a great delivery device.
So I don't see that as a too crazy of a thought.
My crazy thought was Jelly Bellies. I think it's bullshit to put
the
CBD
Jelly Belly
in
guy,
Jelly Bellies.
The Jelly Belly guy is making a CBD version.
I don't like that at all.
Which is kind of counterintuitive, considering even CBD freaks people out with kids. Now, we think kids should be taking CBD as a vitamin.
Yeah.
But we're not doctors.
Wait, if you're giving the
parents.
Jelly Belly to a kid, that's different. Then I'm cool with it.
I find it's difficult for me to figure out how you're going to argue that their Jelly Bellies aren't for kids.
Oh yeah.
Even though they've got CBD in them. You know, that's sort of right there in the fact with Joe Camel. It's like Joe Camel introducing.
Well, I told you I
got
CBD's
for your parents.
I got all into it with that person about the person who posted that in some CBD information and users group, posted that thing about the Jelly Bellies in the group and said, keep it away from kids. I'm like, why?
Yeah, why?
And she's like, what do you mean, why? And I laughed, Why? I don't know why you're laughing. This isn't funny. I'm like, what do you mean? CBD is not harmful to children. CBD is not harmful. Period. So why keep it away from children? What's the problem? She just couldn't get it. Poor thing.
Couple of comments.
Yeah.
In regards to CBD.
Yeah.
Blazer 420 CBD flower is all I smoke.
Oh, nice.
We had some yesterday. We love CBD flower. That's been a new addition to our repertoire.
It's true.
And it's a nice change. And it's still beneficial in so many ways. It's all a sort of a myth that now, yes, I mean, you're gonna fire something up, you're gonna create a lot of temperature, and you're gonna get some stuff. But really, the only studies that have ever been done about smoking any type of cannabis have been not negative. They've never found it. Believe me, if it ever was found to cause lung cancer or anything, we would have known about it. And they haven't been able to prove it. In fact, the one study in 1973 says it actually is good. Smoked THC is good for lung expansion. And we know it's a expectorant. It's a bronchodilator.
Yep.
In many respects. So that's part of the full flower. It's also a combination of things, not just the THC. There's other stuff going on that's contributing to that. So we like the CBD flower there, Blazer 420. We do enjoy that. CBD soda, the waters, Cannabis Sativa, and the sodas are very popular right now.
I like the water.
CBD vape. I know people that vape CBD for pain, for acute pain. Seems to help for that. So my problem with CBD is stuff like the ice. Oh, and IGC, our little cannabis company that is fluctuating, is just coming out with a whole line of CBD products, including an isolate. On top of some of the other stuff they're developing. So the isolates are where I sort of get a little iffy about. We're full flower people. We like full spectrum situation where, you're using a little bit of this, it can be dominant that, but you really should be using the whole dealio before going to some form of isolate. And who knows, like THC on its own, in its pure form, is not super tolerated by a lot of people.
It's definitely not tolerated by older people very well at all.
Right.
So you got to be careful.
You really, there is controversy in that
Not
statement.
that it'll kill you, it won't. You just might have a bad experience, and you don't want to scare people away.
And really,
from the healing plant.
And it's not as effective, really. I mean, you need everything working together. And everything makes things work better. The THC makes, ask Alexis Bortel, the THC makes the CBD work better.
Yeah.
In certain instances, a lot of kids do get relief from epilepsy and Parkinson's and older people, but sometimes it doesn't last, and you have to add. And I think that's what happened in Alexis's case. They ended up having to add it because it wasn't being as effective. So everybody's a little different. Everybody's system is different. Everybody's body needs that adaptogen to work differently, and you have to sort of experiment on ourselves because they're not going to do it.
No.
At least not yet. They like the isolates, I'm sure, in the pharmaceutical industry because that is something they can wrap their head around.
Yeah.
It's the full flower stuff that's confounding to them. Now, Canada and Israel have seemed to figure out a way to actually do it. We're importing it for Jiminy Crickets from Canada, from Tilray, to do studies in San Diego, California. It's crazy. We're going to get some form of legalization. It's a matter of time. And thank you. Somebody mentioned my John Boehner impersonation. I'd like to thank you for that. Have you seen this $10 bill? The back of the $10 bill. That's American farmers harvesting cannabis. Do you know that our founding fathers grew cannabis? I'm all in. Now's the time to be all in on cannabis. So, it's going to happen. Some form of legalization, which is aka tyranny, tax and regulate Fazul. I hope they start to wake up. Now, it looks like Pennsylvania might actually be learning something. We're going to watch a video in the news in the afterburn when we take a look at marijuana in the mainstream media, where they're going to try to pass a law that has home grow. It has what else? What else was good? I don't remember the tax. It'll come to me. But Pennsylvania seems to be doing some better things.
Yeah.
So we'll see that in the news. But
I mean, if you're going to make laws around it at all, these are the least tyrannical so far.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But, really it should just be free backyard medicine. It should be tomatoes, and that's that. But, we'll get there eventually. Together.
Yeah, the entourage effect. Even Meshalem says that, straight CBD and high dosages for like schizophrenia is something that they should be looking at. And I think he's not necessarily looking at that as a full spectrum situation. Maybe it is. But, they're trying it a number of different ways. But full spectrum seems to be the most effective in all the anecdotal evidence that comes through supports full spectrum being a better option if you can get it. And really, isolates are just a way to make it cheaper, lightweight, so that it can be shipped, inexpensively and sold in mass quantities. That's really what isolates, powders, and don't get me wrong. I love being in Colorado. Remember, we could throw a little THC powder into the coffee or the tea. That was great, and it worked, and it did work great. But full spectrum is better for everybody.
Now that I know what I know, I would probably get the CBD and the THC and then mix them together.
Ooh, Jilly Love. My homemade RSO takes a nice sized dab, lasts 5 hours. Really, really nice. Ooh, you have a very efficient endocannabinoid system. Keep you going like that. Barbara Heth, like tomatoes or the air we breathe? Yes, indeed. Tomatoes had a struggle, as we talked about a few weeks ago. But yes, we would much prefer it to be like tomatoes now than it. It's otherwise it is tyranny. But this is what governments do.
Yeah, it's incremental.
They have to make rules.
Hate that.
They have to protect the children.
Oh, the children.
And the highways. They have to protect the highways. And what was it you said? They aren't making PSAs and educational programs from liquor sales to teach people about drunken driving and alcohol and driving.
Yeah.
They're not doing that anymore. Maybe they did that back in the very beginning, but they're certainly not publicizing these educational campaigns anymore about drunk driving.
Yeah, it's not on the news.
They were up on the Hill last week, but it's not. There are not giant campaigns, and now it's all about protecting the highways and the kids from cannabis. And we still, these kids are still, they're still getting into it. Those pesky kids, they're getting into it, and they somehow get a brownie or two or a gummy or two into school. and all of those kids are sent home, have a great nap, and they're back in school the next day. So from their cannabis poisoning of laced candy. It's always laced. Whenever a kid picks it up in
totally
a brownie,
laced,
it's
yeah.
laced. Poison, like laced poison. It's laced. And they were released to their parents at the end of the day. So cannabis, still trying to kill a kid, hasn't done it. Nor anybody else has been directly related to cannabis. So even the DEA agrees with that. Another interesting fact I found out recently, because another big trend these days is decriminalizing psilocybin. I'm all for that. Because the evidence is there, baby. MDMA is going to be off the schedule and into your drugstores before you know it. And psilocybin is not going to be far behind, at least as far as criminalization and its possibilities. The FDA has already put it on the breakthrough therapy list, and laws are popping up like mushrooms all over the place to get psilocybin decriminalized. Oakland, the latest city to propose a law to decriminalize psilocybin. Denver,
Oakland.
I think Denver last week. Oregon's been trying. I think California, there's been working on it. Interesting. Cannabis sativa, protect the highways. Phil Scott, Vermont government skittish about allowing cannabis sales. Vermont already has low highway fatality numbers. Disingenuous hand-wringing. Yeah, absolutely. I find all of those top three arguments that the prohibitionists and the cops use whenever they get a sheriff up on stage to talk about it. There's like these three things they talk about. And what's really funny, there are state troopers all over the place going, no, you want to legalize it. That's what you want to do. So they don't get a lot of play. But the prohibitionists use the same message about, and then use straw man arguments and just complete horseshit. Now it happens on the other way. It happens in the other direction too, because politicians are going to be politicians. And they are trying to, there's a, basically in Sarasota, Florida, they're trying to pass a decriminalization bill because to get people that under an ounce not being arrested. Well, apparently they're not really arresting a lot of people in Sarasota for that, and it looks like it's more of a political play. 34, I think, is how many they arrested. They're not really focusing on it there, which, I suppose in community, it's all a community thing. Various departments and who's doing what where, and of course we find the big departments are now, mayors are saying, back off, don't arrest people for cannabis, just don't do it.
Oh.
So the politicians are going to politic, and everybody's on the cannabis bandwagon. All the Democratic nominees or potential nominees are on board, except for I think there's one or two. I think Hickenlooper's for it now. He was against the list on autism, but now he's come around and wants legalization. Kamala, of course, is back. Kamala is on board because she gets tired, I guess, of people being locked up for low-level marijuana crimes like she did for so long.
Right.
Gillibrand, former Republican, she's on board. She co-sponsored the Booker's bill, as they all started to do after Bernie. As Bernie, of course, had his own bill a few times. So I guess he's letting the other folks come forward with theirs this time, which is great, which is fine. And he hasn't introduced one, right, this year?
No,
he didn't introduce his bill yet.
No.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, just to go back to the psilocybin thing before you get too far away from it. Slow News Day in the chat, reminding us that MAPS, Zach Leary, have done the lion's share of work on legalizing psilocybin. And Jilly Love, right after that, Botany of Desire, is a cool history doc about cannabis, apples, potatoes, tulips by Michael Pollan, who is part of MAPS also. And you're reading a Michael Pollan book right now also, and you got another book as well. Everybody's reading. We're totally digressing now.
What do you mean?
I'm showing my book, you're showing
yours. You got your book.
I got my book. Vegan Metro was asking earlier what book Oscar was reading, and so I'm reading Smoke Signals by Martin Lee. Sorry.
Pollan's book on psychedelics.
Yep.
And I'm reading this one.
Yeah. I love reading, you guys, and I want to watch this documentary that
and
Julie Love is
the
recommending.
Grower's Guide is coming.
Botany of
Because we're going to have to
Desire.
figure that out. We're going to ask Ed Rosenthal how two complete newbies can grow a successful cannabis plant.
Yeah, I bet it has a lot to do with just have patience and, you know.
I picked up one button yesterday. Burn one for Bernie.
Yeah.
Burn one for Bernie. It's the only button I picked up. A lot of cool shirts, though. The shirt industry is back.
Yep. It's true. It's true.
Poland and Stemets are awesome. Jim Lee Love, yes, indeed. Two of my favorite interviews on Joe Rogan, for sure. But they are two of my favorites on all things. I mean, Poland's food books are really good, and Stemets is just he's a god in my book.
He's amazing. All these horticulturalists and growers and farmers.
Oh yeah,
and
it's all super impressive.
We just really admire.
I don't know how my dirt experiment is going to go. I'll tell you that much.
Just keep at it, man. Just keep at it. Add more of the brown, dry, leafy things. You know, just keep at it.
Yeah, Hickey Looper, Fracky Looper, Julie Liv. That's true. Absolutely. Yeah, it can't be trusted. If he was only into cannabis oil as opposed to fracking natural gas, I don't trust him. He's on the bottom of the list. Blazer 420. The Joe Rogan Mushroom Experience episode was very informative and very entertaining. Yes, indeed, it was. That I don't know if you got that from me, but yes, indeed, I often say that should be watched. Anybody wants to learn what's going on. Jagger 720 on Twitch. What is your opinion on cannabis that was grown with plant growth regulators or pesticides? I'd just like to know your perspective. Thanks. Bad. We have many growers in our chat, so perhaps somebody in our YouTube chat could opine on some of that as far as grown with plant growth regulators. I'm not even sure what that is, to be frank, but thank you for watching on Twitch, Jagger720. And pesticides, we're part of what's going on in this tax and overregulate scheme. I've been smoking cannabis a number of years.
Yes, but
I know a few other people that have been smoking cannabis a lot of years, and I've never known anybody who's ever, been negatively affected by any pesticides. But that aside,
but we know our growers.
That's true.
We know our farmers, and we know that they use, organic practices.
Yes, that's true.
So that's where we get our cannabis. So I would like other farmers to use similar practices. And if that means that they all need to be organic, then so be it.
The other side of that is that apparently 70% of all of the food grown in the United States is contaminated with pesticides. Mm-hmm. It needs to be washed 3 times before you eat it. So I find it just pretty hilarious that they have such just a complete obsession with the cannabis plant. Especially in the recreational end of it. I understand the medicine.
We have lots of weighing in on that question.
Yes. Let's hear
bad,
something.
Bad.
All bad.
Bad. Mason
Who's doing
662 is bad. Jason 222, avoid pesticides anywhere near it. Julie Love 101, growth regulators are toxic. Bad.
All bad. We're getting all bad. Jagger 720, don't do it. There are plenty. We saw so many great panels at the Emerald Cup on natural ways to permaculture ways to grow your cannabis, and just use what's out there in the world and not have to introduce anything for any reason. Pests for growth, sunshine, clean water.
Good vibes.
Good vibes, and in good vibes, exactly. And some intriguing technology. Greenhouses that help you adjust to your weather situation, and the new lighting even is getting better. And although the argument over LED versus others, it's fascinating. I know California is really big. We're gonna have what's called what are they called? Appellations here in California, more like wine, where this product is going to be like these practices will be used, and you will buy these craft cannabis companies, and that's really, I think, where the direction of cannabis is going. And you're going to get your mass marketed, Acreage Holdings, Tilray, Chronos, all these guys, these players, MedMen. You're going to get your MedMen. They're going to buy up some organic companies. Are they going to be affected by that? Are those companies going to get their practices going to be affected by that? Possibly. Hopefully not. There are some cooperative opportunities that we're trying to push forward in legislature here in California to help small co-ops or big co-ops help the small farmers. Oh, that's what's going on in Pennsylvania that I found so exciting, and we're going to get into the afterburn here soon. But in Pennsylvania, the law they're trying to pass is going to allow small growers to be able to provide supply to the shops. So, where you basically, they've been trying to do this in Michigan, or want to do this in Michigan, is why can't these medicinal growers take their supply into the shops and provide them with product? As long as the shops get it tested before it goes on the shelf, that should be fine. And that's what they're going to do in Pennsylvania. Yes, Chela.
Phil Britton.
Phil's back.
Hello, all. Rebroadcasting your show via pirate radio to 4 square miles of Cortez, Colorado, soon to be the hemp capital of the Four Corners area.
Wow.
Nice. Hi, Phil Britton. Nice to see you.
Exciting.
It's been so long.
You have been missed, my friend. Phil Britton, nice to see you back on the air. Pirate radio. How many watts?
Far out. I don't know.
Oh. 4 square miles.
4 square miles.
You must be pumping out a couple hundred now. I mean, it used to be a mile in Colorado. That's fantastic. Welcome back. Cortez, Colorado just authorized 12 more hemp growing operations for the area.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, Phil, welcome back. Great to see you, my friend. One of the OG revolutionaries and listeners and viewers of the show when we first started over a year ago.
We have
great support and great information in the chat. Welcome back. Great to see you back, Phil.
Totally. Apple juice is being chatted about in the chat.
Apple juice and pesticides?
Yeah.
Yes.
Apple juice.
Yeah.
Apple juice is the shit, apparently.
For what?
No, to pour apple juice on your plant.
Oh, really?
That's what they're saying. I'd have to go back to read it, but a couple people.
I'll touch on.
Keep doing more news.
I'll touch on what Phil just brought up about all the hemp growing popping up everywhere. This week we've talked about this before. It could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It certainly is being talked about in the outdoor cannabis business across the country, really, because the hemp is happening due to the removal from the Farm Bill or from the CSA because of the Farm Bill. Hemp is happening, and everybody's a little concerned, and we kind of thought about that. Hemp is you can get male hemp plants that will just ravage those girls in the medical cannabis fields if they're very close by and get caught on the wind. Now, there are, early on it was talked about there has to be laws that are passed that require industrial hemp growers to use feminized seeds only. And that really has to be the way this is addressed, or at least one of the ways it's addressed, because this could be definitely a problem. And I think it was it Jilly Love or somebody in the chat mentioned it earlier. And I forgive me if that's not who it was, but it is definitely an issue. And Phil Britton says, come visit Cortez in August, September. Even traditional bean farmers have been signing up for hemp farming licenses other than AK-47s in pickup trucks. This is a happening place.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
Apple juice works in the veg stage. 2 weeks. Shower your plant top to bottom. Bottom 2-3 times a week. Kill all spider mites, aphids, gnats, and you can drink it before you put it on the plant.
A cannabis planting tea you can drink.
From Barbara Heth.
Yeah, Slow News Day says hemp seeds can go for miles. Yeah,
Oy vey.
And so that is an issue. That is definitely an issue that will have to be addressed. But that's fantastic. We may, we're going on the road this summer. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Yeah.
We got to figure that out. after our big April month of interviews, we're gonna have to take this show on the road.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of invites on a lot of people that we would really love to hang out with. And talk medical cannabis, smoke a couple of J's.
That'd be awesome.
Get medicated, get elevated, maybe even do a mushroom or two. Who knows?
I don't know about that, but that'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun. Let's start to wrap up the news.
We should. Well, one of the stories we really haven't talked about, and we're gonna talk about it right now because there is a story in the Afterburn about it. High Times reporting that Alabama lawmakers pushing to legalize medical marijuana. Alabama.
I told you, Bonnie Lee, that your time would come. And Laura P. and Awake A. Alabama, it's starting. It's still tyranny.
Republican State Representative Mike Ball, who helped pass Alabama's Carley's Law and Lenny's Law authorizing CBD, is behind the state's latest push for broad medical cannabis legalization. So South Carolina also this week in the news with religious leaders, I think, pushing for legal medical marijuana in Alabama. Gypsy Lady, yes. Yes, and we've got video in the Afterburn. We're going to start in the South because we do have news out of Alabama. So we'll start in the South in the Afterburn. But it was very exciting to see that even in Alabama, we're seeing so there are some laws that have been passed with regards to CBD, some criminal, light criminal justice stuff, light decriminalization. But now we're seeing maybe some full-blown medical cannabis coming to Alabama, which would be great for all of our friends that watch from Alabama. So it was really exciting to see good news. And really, this week's news, a mixed bag, I think, mostly positive. We're sort of at a disconnect here because we want patients to be protected and access to medicine and free backyard medicine, being able to grow it, give it away, sell it at a farmer's market. It should be off the schedule, no taxation, no regulation, quite frankly, other than light maybe agricultural regulation, like an agricultural medicinal product. Get the FDA to get their act together and change their rules so that a flower can be a medicine as well as a food. And CBD, which is completely beneficial, could be added to something. So Congress has got to get on that. We're going to see it this week. Vegan Metro, Wisconsin is cracking down even on CBD now, but with Michigan there, I don't think they will be the last state to get legal. THC, Indiana is lagging way behind. It's true, but we are seeing movement in even those states. Wisconsin, it's going to be on the ballot again this year, I think, or next. It's going to be on the ballot again for reals in Wisconsin. Indiana, you're seeing, debate with the governor. And the Midwest is moving right along. Illinois is happening. Florida's got a recreational bill. Pennsylvania's got a decent recreational bill. We're going to look more into that and report on that next week. And the East Coast battling back and forth. New York, New Jersey. New York, you might be SOL. You might have to keep calling your guy for another year.
People are going to be calling their guy for a long time.
For a long time. And the weed man in New Jersey, I don't think is going to be losing any business anytime soon
weed
either.
Weed man's not going to have a problem.
Because he's going to keep selling whether recreational pot is voted for on Monday or not, to be without home grow, to be voted on Monday. So let's keep an eye on that on Monday. And that about wraps up our first hour, babe. Anything to say to wrap up our first hour? Final tokes on the news?
Yeah, I had a couple of little tokes.
Awesome.
I really like the science section of the Cannabis Chronicle. That is my favorite section. I found two really great stories in there that I liked. What types of pain can cannabidiol, CBD, treat? And that's a Leafly story that I am sending to my sister. Leafly stories are nice. They're nice to sort of ease people into stuff. It's not too technical. And then the other one that I really liked, and the answer is, of course, neuropathic pain, and inflammation.
Oh, good. I'm glad you answered that.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave people hanging. I figured most of our audience already knows that, but you never know. Maybe some new folks don't. And then, of course, I liked the Truth Out story that latest science debunks claim that marijuana significantly harms the brain.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even really touch upon that. I wanted to touch on that a little bit, of course, because there's...
I'm touching now. Look, we're touching.
Is that in the science section?
It's in the science section.
Here it is.
That's where I found it.
You're right. It's there.
I found it in the science section.
I just, my eyes. That's right. I clicked on it earlier.
Yeah.
Latest science debunks claim that marijuana significantly harms the brain. There's a lot of nonsense going out around again because of a new study.
There's a lot of nonsense.
A new study, correlation study, essentially, that is basically the type of study it is, even the study itself says it's not a good study, and of course, literally everybody is jumping on it again, and it's everything's debunked. The minute it comes out, it becomes debunked, which I find is fascinating. So. Don't let it deter you, folks. Cannabis is medicine. It never killed anybody, and used the right way, it can benefit pretty much anybody of any age for anything. And I say that with a great deal of anecdotal confidence.
But you're not a doctor.
But I'm not a doctor, nor am I a lawyer.
What the fuck do you really know?
So what do I really know? I have an AA degree in theater.
Yeah. Do you even have that?
I don't even have that, actually. I never filed. I never filed for it, so I never even got there.
But you play one on TV.
But I play one but I do play an actor on TV occasionally.
You play a doctor on TV.
I do play that's right. I play a doctor on TV.
It's true.
I've played an FBI expert on TV.
Yeah.
A airport security officer.
You're digressing.
And a state trooper.
We're wrapping it up.
So I often get I often get cast as the man. But thank you all for watching Reefer Revolution Live. We do this every Sunday at 4:20 Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, get notifications, ring that bell, tell your friends.
Yes.
And we will be right. And don't go anywhere.
Yes,
we're not
stay
done.
right here in the chat.
We're not done.
Right here, we'll chat.
Stay in the YouTube chat.
We're chatting.
We're gonna shut down for a second. Helps me in editing and all kinds of things.
Yep.
Give a thumbs up for this one. And when we come back in 2 minutes, give a thumbs up for the new broadcast. But stay in the chat. Keep talking. Yep. Phil, keep broadcasting over Pirate Radio.
Yep.
We'll be back.
I'm going to spark up another doob.
Yes, we're going to spark up another doob. I'm going to wet my whistle.
We're smoking Skywalker today. What do you guys enjoying?
That's what we need to talk about. Welcome back, Phil Britton. Very exciting. All right, guys.
Go, Dave.
We'll be back in 2 minutes.
I love it.
Free the plant, free the people. Pot for peace. Spark it up.